Hi everyone, my name is Elgin and welcome back to the channel. I think we can safely say that 2025 is almost over for the new launch segment. The last one will be the Sand in Upper Bukit Timah, which will be having its launch weekend in the second week of November. To sum up 2025, I think it has been a spectacular year for the new launches, with many of them achieving fantastic take-up rates of 80 to 90% sold out on the launch weekend. You have your Lindenwoods, your Springleaf Residence, your Sky at Holland and Penbrief. Just look at the central region of Singapore in the Real Valley and Zion Road area, where you have three projects that will launch back to back, and yet all of them managed to achieve very decent take-up rates. Currently, you have your River Green, which is at 91% sold, your Promenade Peak at 66%, and Zion Grand at 84%. Now, if you have missed out any of these three new launches, not to worry and don't need to FOMO, okay? There is another one coming up which I feel might be the best one yet in this area. But let's also explore the rest of the new launches that will be coming up in the first half of 2026, which I will be ranking them according to what I feel might be the best to enter based on the current available information. So these are the 10 projects that are coming up in the first half of next year. I've excluded ECs and the smaller boutique projects from this list, and do note that the launch dates may change at the discretion of the developers. If you have noticed, most of the projects are in the OCR and particularly in the eastern or western parts of Singapore. So let's go straight into it. And first up, we have Narra Residences, which is located in the western part of Singapore. It is expected to launch around the first quarter of 2026. This comes after the Botany at Dairy Farm was fully sold in February this year. Botany actually achieved an average PSF of $2,026, alright, and they took about a 2-year time frame to sell out. And also in the area and launch around the same time as Botany was The Mist. Alright, The Mist is located in the Cashew area. Today it is about 88% sold, and the average transacted PSF at The Mist is $2,110 per square foot. Now, if you look at the map of Narra Residences, it is located along Dairy Farm Walk. At this then parcel, the opposite will be your Dairy Farm Residences, which you will find your Dairy Farm Mall for your supermarket and your F&B options. Alright, beside Dairy Farm Residence will be your Botany at Dairy Farm. And there will be another land parcel which is over here. This will be launched for sale in November this year, 2025. Okay. So some of the project info, of course, location Dairy Farm Walk. This is in District 23, Bukit Panjang planning area in the OCR. Developers are a consortium of Santali Realty, Apex Asia, Soon Lee Heng and K-Lim. Tenure is 99 years. Estimated number of units 540. Very good land size of 235,000 square feet. And the land rate which they bought this land at is at $1,020 per square foot per plot ratio. Estimated break-even PSF at $1,845. And my estimated launch prices for Narra Residence is between $2,100 and $2,400. Okay, so for this land parcel, there were only 2 bids. The top bid is 23% higher than the second bidder, and the second bidder is actually Simlian, which is also the developer for the Botany at Dairy Farm. Alright, so track records for Santali Realty and its partners, it includes St. Reed's, Altura and Tenet. Okay, let's take a look at the upside potential and the downside risk for Narra Residences. So in terms of project size and quality, Narra Residences has a larger land size than Dairy Farm Residences and the Botany. I think this will allow the developers to actually come up with full condo facilities and make it very attractive for family stay, especially in the OCR area. Okay, entry price wise, there is a downside risk, especially where there is potentially higher prices than Tengah Garden Avenue GLS, which should be launched around the same time. I think this could create some competition between these two projects. Buyers will actually compare between these two because they are also in the western part of Singapore. So new and resale supply. Alright, this will be the first harmonized project in Dairy Farm and Hillview area. Okay, so then the downside risk, there is also competition from 7 resale projects in Dairy Farm area, and of course you also have your freehold projects in Hillview area as well. So, but I feel the closest competitor is actually the Botany, as it is the newest with the best layout among the resale options in Dairy Farm. Okay, there will also be a few more land plots for sale in the Dairy Farm area. Location wise, you have 2 primary schools within 1 kilometers, Bukit Panjang Primary and CHIJ Our Lady Queen of Peace. However, these 2 schools, we will have to wait for the developer to confirm, alright? So this is also walking distance to your Dairy Farm Mall for amenities, and is also very easily accessible to get on the BK and PIE. So the downside in terms of its location is that it's not within walking distance to the MRT. Okay, in terms of exit strategy, you do have your upgraders from your sizable BTO clusters nearby, which is in Bukit Batok and Tengah. Of course, the downside risk is that project quality is important to stand out amongst the resale supply. So this is very dependent on what the developers can churn out for Narra Residences. The next project is also in the western part of Singapore. This is Tengah Garden GLS. I feel that this project might compete directly with Narra Residences simply because their attributes are pretty similar. I'm sure you have already read the news that ACS Primary will be shifting from Barker Road to Tengah and commencing operations from 2030 onwards. But sadly, this project is not within 1 km to ACS. But not to worry, I'm sure that there will be more infrastructure, schools, and more amenities will be set up as the town develops. So let's get into the details. Although Narra Residences is in a private residential enclave with 7 condo developments, in terms of the amenities and public transport options is still quite limited, and there are still several land plots yet to be developed in that area. And for Tengah itself, it is a developing township with 30,000 BTO flats planned to be built in this area. So about 12,000 will be completed by 2025. Alright, first up the map. This is our land parcel, and right next to the land parcel, we will have the Hong Kong MRT station, which is part of the Jurong Region line. Okay, so of course you have your BTO clusters over here and your PIE expressway. So project info, location, Tengah Garden Avenue, District 24, Tengah OCR. Developers, you have very reputable ones, Hong Leong, Guoco Land and CSC Land. Tenure of the project, 99 years. Estimated number of units, 860 units. Land size, very sizable, almost 274,000 square feet. So the land rate which they acquired this land for, $821 per square foot per plot ratio, and the estimated break-even is at $1,576 PSF. Alright, estimated launch prices, I feel it might be from $1,009 to $2,200. This land attracted 3 bids, and the top bid is only 0.73% higher than the second bidder, so less than 1%, yeah. So track records of the developers, there are too many to name, so I'll just name a few: Penrith, Midwood, and Lentor Residences. So some of the upside and downsides associated with Tengah Garden Avenue. Alright, in terms of project size and quality, this is a very large land size with commercial at first story, also the first private residential site in Tengah itself, and you have very strong developer track record. So the downside risk is that there will be MRT track noise, because the Hong Kong MRT station, the Jurong Region line is actually all above ground. Alright, so in terms of entry price, this is potentially one of the lowest entry price projects in 2026. So in terms of new and resale supply, the upside is that there will be future GLS land sales that can help to support prices as Tengah develops progressively. So downside risk is that you have quite a bit of resale supply from recent EC launches such as Coppin Grand, Altura, Novo Place, and Lumina Grand. Okay, so in terms of location, this is definitely within walking distance to Hong Kong MRT station. Okay, the downside risk is that there is currently no primary schools within 1 kilometers. In terms of exit strategies, similarly, we'll be looking to HDB upgraders from the BTOs in Bukit Batok and Tengah. So the third project, and also in the western part of Singapore, is the Lakeside Drive GLS. So this is the first harmonized project in Jurong itself. Currently, there are 2 launches nearby along Jurong Lake Gardens. These are from en bloc sales. They are Sora and Lake Garden Residences. So as of today, as of this video recording, Lake Garden Residences is about 88% sold, whereas Sora is at the 45% mark. I think that this Lakeside Drive GLS might attract a lot of demand, okay, because of its strong selling points. Firstly, it is just doorstep to Lakeside MRT station. Second, it is likely within 1 km to 4 primary schools. And lastly, this is also the first harmonized project in Jurong. So if you have been to the resale condos around the Lakeside area, you'll find that a lot of them belong to the older layouts. Some of the common rooms might be small, maybe around 7 square meters, and then you have bay windows, and some condo projects, they don't even have balconies in their units. Okay, so let's move on to the details. So let's take a look at the map. So this is our land parcel. We are doorstep to Lakeside MRT station. From the map itself, you already notice there are a few schools that are listed here. Yuhua Secondary School, Rulang Primary School, and Yuanqing Secondary School. And right across the road is the Jurong Lake Gardens, which is the second national gardens in Singapore. Okay, project information. Location Lakeside Drive, District 22, Jurong, OCR. Developer will be City Developments. Tenure, same thing, 99 years. Estimated number of units, 575. Pretty good land size, medium one, 145,000 square feet. So the land rate is $1,132 per square foot per plot ratio. Estimated break-even price is at $2,181. So for the launch prices, I estimate that this might launch around the $2,350 to $2,650 range, right? So this land parcel attracted 6 bids. The top bid is 10.4% higher than the second bidder. So track records of city developments. Recent one is their Zion Grand, Coppin Grand, Whistler Grand, and Commonwealth Towers. So let's take a look at the upside and downsides of the Lakeside Drive GLS. So in terms of project size and quality, so this is a good land size, mixed development with commercial at first story, and you have strong developer track records. So downside is that you will definitely get the MRT track noise. So entry price, in terms of entry price, the downside is that it will be higher than the current 2 new launches nearby, which is Sora and Lake Garden. But I mean, this is understandable because Lakeside Drive is just beside the MRT station, whereas Sora and Lake Garden is not really within walking distance to the MRT. Okay, so in terms of new and resale supply, the upside is that this is the first harmonized project in Jurong, and there is likely only going to be 1 more GLS land beside Lakeside MRT station. Okay, the downside is that there is an ample supply of resale options within 1 kilometers of Lakeside MRT station, but layouts might not be that ideal. Okay, so in terms of location, we have already mentioned some of this. Doorstep to Lakeside MRT station. This is also likely to be within 1 kilometers to 4 primary schools, which are Rulang Primary, Suchin, Lakeside, and Boon Lay Garden. And this has to be confirmed by the developer later on. Alright, so we are also next to Jurong Lake Gardens, which is Singapore's second national gardens. In terms of exit strategy, I think we can really tell from recent new launches that there is very good demand for new harmonized projects that are located near the MRT. This is also a very strong option for HDB upgraders in the West who want to be near the MRT, have good school choices, and also be next to the National Gardens. So for the next project, we will be moving northwards, and this is the Lentor Gardens GLS. So there's virtually no supply left from the Lentor launches. Resale units from Lentor Modern have already hit the resale market, and the highest transacted was around 2,440 plus PSF. So with more resale units gradually hitting the market, this might create more competition with the Lentor Gardens GLS, which will ultimately benefit buyers looking to buy into the Lentor area. So let's take a look at the map of Lentor Gardens. So this is the land parcel, and we are within walking distance to the Lentor MRT station. I think this should be under 10 minutes walk. Okay, so project information, location Lentor Gardens. We are in District 26 in the Ang Mo Kio planning area in the OCR. Developer is Kingsford Group. Tenure 99 years. Estimated number of units 500 units. In terms of land size, this is also quite sizable, 222,000 square feet. The land rate which Kingsford acquired this land is at $920 per square foot per plot ratio. Estimated break-even is at $1,710 per square foot. Estimated launch prices are likely to be from $2,000 to $2,300 per square foot. Right, so this land parcel attracted 2 bids. The top bid is 1.66% higher than the second bidder. So some track records of Kingsford Group. You have the current Chuan Park, Normanton Park, Kingsford Water Bay, and Hillview Peak. Okay, let's take a look at the upside and downside risk of Lentor Gardens GLS. So in terms of project size and quality, this is a large land size, so definitely we can expect full condo facilities in this project. So in terms of entry price, the upside is that this is the third harmonized project in Lentor after Lentor Mansion and Lentor Central, and I believe that the launch prices should be similar to theirs, and the developer also has to take note not to compete with the resale supply. So in terms of new and resale supply, there is no new supply in the area, as all the newly launched units in Lentor have been almost fully sold, right? There should be just a handful of units left. So thus far, resale units in Lentor Modern have been profitable. The downside is that this is the 7th new launch project in Lentor, and there are likely to be 3 more GLS land plots to be released in the Lentor area. So in terms of location, this is within walking distance to Lentor MRT station. You are likely to have some blocks that will fall within 1 kilometer to Anderson Primary School and CHIJ St. Nick's Girls' School. So this will be confirmed by the developer later on. So in terms of exit strategy, I mean, we do have HDB upgraders from North and Northeast regions who would want a more central location and looking for new harmonized projects with better layouts, because currently there are no new harmonized projects in Sengkang and Punggol. So next up, we are heading to the eastern part of Singapore. First off will be Pinery Residences. So for those who have missed out on Parktown Residence, not to worry. Pinery Residences offers a location that is closer to the city centre. It is also within walking distance to Tampines West MRT station, and likely to be within 1 kilometer to 3 primary schools. And this project should be launching in the first quarter of 2026. So let's get into the details. So this is our land parcel over here. We are along Tampines Street 94, also within 5 minutes walking distance to the Tampines West MRT station. So Safra Tampines is right over here, and behind us will be the Tampines Green Courts BTO. Okay, so some project information. Location, Tampines Street 94 in District 18 Tampines Planning Area in the OCR. Developers are Hoi Hop and Sunway. Tenure 99 years. Estimated number of units 596 units. Land size also very sizable. I mean, a lot of OCR land has been more than 200,000 square feet, right, in this season. So 252,000, right? And land rate is at $1,004 per square foot per plot ratio. Estimated break even at $1,823 per square foot. So estimated launch prices is at $2,001 to $2,400 per square foot. I mean, if this comes through, then I think this is really quite attractive because Parktown Residence as of today is 92% sold at an average PSF of almost $2,500. Okay, so this land attracted 6 bids and the top bid is only 1.9% higher than the second bidder. So some track records of Hoi Hub and Sunway, they have developed Park Canberra, River Cove Residences, 100 Palms Residences, and the current one is Continuum. So some of the upside and downside risks. So in terms of project size and quality, this is a large land size, mixed development with commercial at first story with an early childhood development facility. In terms of entry price, I think prices will likely to be similar to that of Parktown Residence. Okay, and if it's similar or lower than Parktown, then I think that will be a bonus. Okay, Parktown Residence sold about 87% or more than 1,000 units at an average of $2,360 per square foot on its launch weekend. So in terms of supply, downside risk is that there is a new EC one street away which is launching around the same time. I think this story is similar to Parktown as well, right? Orwell is also located next to Parktown Residence, and yet Parktown Residence is still able to achieve very decent results. Okay, very not decent, I think it's fantastic results. Okay, it's really 92% sold, right? So in terms of location, Pinery is within walking distance to Tampines West MRT station, likely to be within 1 kilometer to St. Hilda's, Tampines and Junyuan Primary School. Okay, this will be confirmed by the developer later on. So in terms of exit strategy, okay, there is definitely strong demand from HDB upgraders in Tampines, Sengkang and Punggol. Next up, this project is also in the eastern part of Singapore, which is the Bayshore GLS. I think you have probably heard of this Bayshore GLS many times already. It has been used as a reference by many agents and also mentioned in the media before its record OCR benchmark prices. Okay, it's likely to test the price range of $2,700 to $3,000 per square foot. But will it be as hot as the BTOs that were launched in the Bayshore area recently? I think from the ground sentiments is that a lot of people are waiting for these projects because there is a pent-up demand for sea-fronting units, and then you have the MRT that is right next to it, so it offers a lot of very strong selling points. Okay, so let's get into the details. So first up, the land parcel is next to the Bayshore MRT station. And of course, right in front of us, you have unblocked views of East Coast Park and of course sea views. Okay, so in terms of project information, location, we are at Bayshore Road, District 16 in the Bedok planning area in the OCR. Developer is Singhai Group, tenure 99 years, estimated number of units 515 units, land size medium size, which is at 105,000 square feet. Okay, the land rate is at $1,388 PSF PPR. Okay, estimated break-even price is at $2,343. Estimated launch prices $2,700 to $3,000 per square foot. So this land garnered about 8 bids, so quite competitive. The top bid is only 0.82% higher than the second bidder. So some track records of Singhai Group, they are currently developing Grand Diamond, and Park Clementi's and the Lilium are completed projects. So let's take a look at the upside and downside risks for the Bayshore GLS in terms of the project size and quality. Alright, upside is that this is at least a medium land size or more than 100,000 square feet. Downside risk is that Bayshore is a car-light precinct, so there may be lower car park provisions in this project. Okay, so in terms of supply, the resale options in the Bayshore area are already 22 to 40 years old, and they are non-harmonized projects. So the closest competitor is actually Seaside Residences in Siglap. They also offer sea view and is also close to the MRT station, but Seaside Residences is also a non-harmonized project. Alright, the downside risk is that there will be future land supply in the Bayshore precinct that will compete directly with this project. So in terms of location, doorstep to the MRT, we are also likely to be within 1 km to Temasek Primary School. This will be confirmed by the developer later on. So in terms of exit strategy, there is pent-up demand for new seafronting projects in the east, and this is likely the only land plot in the new Bayshore precinct that offers both unblocked sea views and also the closest proximity to the MRT station. Okay, the downside is that, is there sufficient room for capital appreciation in future if the entry prices are high? That we don't know, right? That is a question mark. Next up, we will be moving into the city fringe, and this is Media Circle GLS. So this is located closer to the western part of Singapore, and this is Qing Jian's second project in the Media Circle. The first one is Bloomsbury Residence. Bloomsbury actually did not do quite well during this launch weekend, and sales only started to pick up progressively post-launch. It's currently about 69% sold as of this video recording. Those who have bought Bloomsbury, they actually bought it for wanting to be close to the city center, and yet you get much lower entry prices than your other city fringe projects. The other thing is that there are a few more land parcels that will come up in Media Circle, and these are all zone residential with commercial at first story. So this will bring more amenities to the residents living in this area. So this is our land parcel in Media Circle. This is just opposite the Infinite Studios. So just to note, it's not along the AYE, so likely you won't get too much of the expressway road noise. Okay, so some project information. Location: Media Circle District 5 in the Queenstown Planning Area, RCR. Okay, developers Qing Jian and 4C, and the tenure is 99 years. Estimated number of units 325 units. Land size, okay, smaller than anticipated. Land size is only at 82,000 square feet. So land rate which they acquired this land for is at $1,337 PSF PPR. Estimated break-even at $1,823 per square foot, and estimated launch prices will be at $2,250 to $2,550. So this land attracted 3 bids, and the top bid is 5.7% higher than the second bidder. So some track records of Qing Jian, of course, Bloomsbury Residences, Jadescape, and Le Quest. Some of the upside potential and downside risks for Media Circle GLS. In terms of project size and quality, the upside is that there will be commercial shops at your first story. Downside is that this is quite a smallish land size. In terms of entry price, this is acquired at a lower land cost than Bloomsbury, so prices might be more attractive. Alright, in terms of supply, there are a few more GLS land parcels up for sale in the area. So potential competition in the resale market from recent launches in the One North area. Alright, you have your Linden Woods, The Hill at One North, Blossoms by the Park, and One North Eden. So in terms of location, we are located in the city fringe, close to the One North Business Hub. And you also have the Tanglin Trust International School nearby. Okay, downside is that no MRT station within walking distance. In terms of exit strategy, you have your potential demand from the HDB upgraders from Queenstown, Ghim Moh, and in Dover itself. And from the working population in One North, they might find the entry prices more palatable than those that are nearer to the MRT stations. Next up, the second project in the city fringe area. This is closer to the northern part of Singapore. This is from an en bloc sale, the former Thomson View. This is also likely to be a project to look out for, which will likely see very strong demand for it due to the very strong selling points for this project. Okay, so let's go straight into the details. So from the land itself, you can see that it's a massive elongated piece of land, and you're likely to have your residential buildings over here along this stretch, and your facilities will be concentrated over in this area. So right across the road, this will be your Thomson Plaza, and this will be your Upper Thomson MRT station. Okay, so for project information, we are along Bright Hill Drive, District 20 in the Bishan Planning Area, RCR. Developers, UOL and CapitaLand. Tenure, 99 years. Estimated number of units, 475 units. Land size is pretty sizable, very large land size at 540,000 square feet. Land rate, acquired at is at $1,178 PSF PPR. Estimated break-even PSF is at $2,062. Estimated launch prices will be between $2,004 and $2,007 per square foot. So this is the sole buyer, alright? URL and CapitaLand are the sole buyers for the land. So their track records include Sky at Holland, Parktown Residence, Pine Tree Hill, and One Pearl Bank. So some of the upside potential and downside risks for former Thomson View. Okay, in terms of project size and quality, this is a mega land size, and you can definitely expect full condo facilities, and you will get full unblocked views towards the landed estate. Okay, in terms of entry price, this could potentially be priced very attractively due to a lower land cost. However, the downside is that the recent strong showings at the new launches could see the developers want to test higher price range. They might want to test, prices at the higher price range, right? Okay, so in terms of supply, there is no new supply in the vicinity, and this is the first harmonized project in the Thomson area. And in terms of competition, your closest competitor would be Jadescape. Okay, location wise, like we mentioned earlier, walking distance to the MRT station and Thomson Plaza, and it's also within 1 kilometer to Aitong School. So exit strategy, we already seen very strong resale performance from Jadescape. I think this demonstrates very strong buyer demand for new, good quality and large projects. Okay, so we are down to the final two projects, and these two projects are located in the core central region of Singapore. So first up, we have Newport Residences, which is located in the Central Business District. So this is a redevelopment of the former Fuji Xerox Towers. Okay, CDL was actually supposed to launch this project 2 years ago, but they chose to shelve it because at that time there was a hike in ABSD for foreign purchasers. It was actually doubled to 60%. So I think that was a pretty good call, because if they chose to go ahead and launch it, the take-up rate would be very low, and this would erode buyers' confidence, post-launch as well. Okay, so there are quite many variables to consider when trying to, guess what CDL might launch this project at, because we don't have a land cost, alright, because it's actually their land parcel. Okay, it actually belongs to CDL from the start, right, the office building. Okay, so there is no land cost, there is no break-even cost for us to work on. Okay, but the thing is, Skywater Residences, which is also in the CBD, but it is a 99-year leasehold project. It has recorded 3 caveats so far, and the transacted prices were from $5,800 to $6,500. Okay, this is on the super high side, But the downside is that the resale performance in the CBD is not doing well. So buying into the CBD might not be a good financial move. So let's see how CDL might try to price this project at. This is Newport Residences, and the closest MRT will be Prince Edward MRT, and you have your Tanjong Pagar MRT right over here. Okay, and in front of Newport would actually be the Greater Southern Waterfront. Okay, some project info. Location, this is along Anson Road, District 2 in the Tanjong Pagar planning area, CCR. Okay, developer is City Developments. Okay, no stranger to us. Tenant, freehold. Estimated number of units, 246 units. Land size is about 55,000 square feet. No land rate and no break-even price. What I would guess the launch prices to be would be between $3,300 to $4,200 per square foot. Okay, so this is a redevelopment of the former Fuji Xerox Tower. So some of the upside potential and downside risks. This is a redevelopment into a 45-story high mixed-use development, 246 residential units starting from level 23 to level 45. Of course, City Development is a strong developer and is partnering with top partners such as Nikon, ADDP, Wohub, and EcoPlan Asia. So downside is that this is a small land size, as this is a redevelopment of an office tower. So in terms of car park allocation, this is only at 50% because I believe they have to cater to the office workforce as well. So in terms of entry price, buyers who have missed out on the recent CCR and RCR launches, you might want to consider this, as this is a freehold project. But of course, on the downside is that due to its exclusivity and freehold status, entry prices might be more expensive than its leasehold peers. Okay, same thing like Robertson Opus, right? A 999 leasehold development. It is priced more expensive than the other 99-year leasehold projects in the River Valley and Southern Road area. Okay, so in terms of supply, there is no new freehold supply of residential units, at least in the short term, unless there is en bloc, and definitely not from GLS. And the downside is that the high entry prices will deter buyers. Furthermore, the resale performance in the CBD is not encouraging, right? So location, we are under 10 minutes walk to Prince Edward and Tanjong Pagar MRT stations. And in terms of exit strategy, the downside is that this might be a long-term hold, and it will be very dependent on the URA rejuvenation of the CBD and the transformation of the Greater Southern Waterfront. Alright, we are finally down to the final project. Alright, this is River Modern, which is also River Valley Green Parcel B. So I feel that this might be the best project out of the River Valley and Southern Road new launches in the area. Okay, this is also the largest one out of the 4 land plots on a purely residential basis, because Zion Grand includes residential and service apartment components. So based on how Guaco has engineered its new launches for success this year, like your Springleaf Residence, your Faber Residences, and its JV with Hong Leong at Penrith, I believe they will want to replicate that success over here at River Modern as well. So let's go into the details. So this is the land parcel for River Modern, which is land parcel B at River Valley Green. So like I said, I feel that this is the best launch out of the 4 in the area. Why do I say so? Is because this is right in front of Kim Seng Park and you are fronting the Singapore River. This will give you unblocked Singapore River views, and you will still be very close, within walking distance actually, to Great World MRT station right over here, and you can also get to Great World City very easily. Alright, so let's get into the project information. Location, River Valley Green. We are in District 9 in the River Valley Planning Area, CCR. Developer is Guaco Land, tenure 99 years. Estimated number of units, 475 units. Land size, pretty decent. Medium land size at 126,000 square feet. The land rate which they acquired at is $1,420 PSF PPR. Estimated break even at $2,386 per square foot. Estimated launch prices might be between $2,850 and $3,500. Alright, so 5 bids for this piece of land. The top bid is 7.9% higher than the second bidder. So of course, track records for Guaco Land, Mayor Mansion, the Avenir, and Martin Borden. So they are a developer of very high-end projects, so not to worry on the quality aspect. So in terms of the upside and downside risk for River Modern, project size and quality, medium land size with commercial shops on the first story that will form the common property owned by the residents. Okay, so strong developer track record. Entry price, this is likely to be priced very competitively with the other new launches in the area. So in terms of supply, the downside risk is that there were already 3 other projects that were launched in the area, and they already enjoyed very good take-up rates. So will there still be buyer demand for River Modern? And furthermore, there is also a new River Valley Green Parcel C GLS land plot right behind River Modern. Okay, so in terms of location, definitely very prime area, located in the city with direct access to Great World MRT station, and you are also within walking distance to Great World City Shopping Mall. Wide frontage along Kim Seng Park and the Singapore River with unblocked views. So exit strategy will be demand from professionals and families in the OCR and RCR looking for a location upgrade. And finally, this is my ranking of the 10 projects that we have reviewed so far. This is based on the current information that is available. Of course, right now we don't have the brochure, we don't have the estimated launch prices and the floor plans or the site map itself. So all this will be released progressively, and I will probably do another video, alright, when all this information are available. So right now in the OCR, my top picks will be Tengah Garden Avenue GLS and Pinery Residences, and in Tier 2 it will be Lakeside Drive GLS, and in Tier 3 it will be Narra Residences, Bayshore GLS and Lentor Gardens GLS. And for RCR, my top pick will be the former Thomson View, okay, and for CCR itself, it will be River Modern. And we've come to the end of the video. I hope you enjoy the content so far. Please remember to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. If you like a further analysis and discussion into these projects, feel free to contact me at my number listed here, and I'll see you in the next video.